Good day, folks. Aran of Aethericarts here, and today I am at Shakori Hills Grassroots Music Festival here in Pittsboro, North Carolina. Today I am going to be doing a little bit of a geopathic dowsing checkup on one of the vendor areas here. In front of me, you can see there are several tents. We have the Honeybee Hemp Farms tent, Solar and Energy Solutions tent, the Catawba Beekeepers tent, and then we also have the Sustainability Pavilion here, which is a meeting space off to the left. What I'm going to be doing today is walking through and performing a geopathic dowsing analysis and then correction on this space. So tune in and enjoy as we get right to it. Okay, so I'm making my first test here, and you can see that there is a dead tree stump to the side here, and as I come across here, we'll see what I find. Okay, so I believe I found a line. I'm going to double check that. Boom, there we go, a geopathic stress line. Another thing that I will point out on this line in particular is that we have this stone here in the middle of the path. And throughout the day, I have observed people repeatedly tripping on this stone. And that's a typical sign of geopathic stress when people are getting caught up on pathways. And then again, with this dead tree stump, that was another telltale for me. So I'm going to locate where the stress is coming from and then make a correction. Which direction is the stress coming from? Which way is it coming from? Where should I make the correction? Okay, so we're gonna move over this way to make the correction. All right, so we've moved past the vendor table here, and I'm gonna refine the line. Where should I make the correction? Okay, so I've detected the line again, and this is where I'm going to make the correction. What I'm going to do is bend over the rod to make a staple, and then I'm going to place this staple into the geopathic stress line and find the right spot. It should slide down pretty easily once I find the right spot. So that one is not quite fully submerging here, and I could work at that more to get that in place. But I'm going to check here and see if the correction is effective. And it looks like we're successfully blocking that geopathic stress line. Okay, we're going to head back out front and check for the next one.
Yeah, so like what's the loop or dynamic between human energetic fields and geographical energetic fields?
So geography and the human infrastructure and work definitely have influence on geopathic and energy fields, whether it's geopathic or more psychic. One of the biggest influences on geopathic energy is actually roadways. And when humans put in roadways, it's basically creating another path through an environment, which is then subject to like repeated vibrations. For instance, we have these golf carts going behind us and all these people walking, and over time, that vibration is going to shift the ground. It's going to shift the energy in a space.
What animals will come near or
right.
purposely deter.
Right, yeah. And so you had asked about like the chicken or the egg, which came first. And oftentimes it is later on that these geopathic stressors will be introduced. And as we've gone further and further into the age of infrastructure and the age of electronics and such, more and more has been introduced that has started to cause an increase in the stresses on the environment. And that's why doing work like this geopathic dowsing is so important, because it can help to correct that overwhelming burden that's being laid on the earth.
Okay, does this relate to 5G at all?
Yes, this does relate to 5G, and it also relates to all EMFs, so any electromagnetic stress. Yeah, and a lot of times in neighborhoods you'll see where they have a cell phone tower, and then nearby you'll see the trees aren't doing so well. The trees will be like dying or like brown, or the leaves will fall off sooner. So you can go in and use this and other tools and methods to make corrections and help those trees survive.
Well, there's something to be said about that too, and like soil quality, and then like you can't be self-sufficient because the soil and like life and vegetation around you is like generally depleted.
Yep. So when we have the chance to like make these corrections, it brings back all aspects of life, not just human life, but also plant life and animal life.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we've made one correction here, and I'm going to check across that path again. Okay, so that's reading is clear to me. I'm really happy with that first correction. Now, another thing to look for here is the power line, which is actually running above this area here. And power lines are oftentimes a source of geopathic stress because they're carrying electromagnetic energy and dirty electricity. So next we're going to address this. Yep, just like I thought, directly underneath this power line. Next, I'm going to check which direction I should make the correction in. Okay, looks like the energy is coming from that direction, flowing in this direction. So when I make the correction over here, it should help with the entire energy of the space behind me. Right over here, you can see a downed tree, which also has a ton of wire on it. I don't know if this was a post, but there's like barbed wire fence in here. There's vines. And then again, on this tree, you can see some blackened coloration, some marring. So oftentimes plants will reveal what's going on with the energy in a space. And unfortunately, it looks like this tree did not survive the geopathic stress. So when we make this correction, it should help with this tree and then anything else downstream. Okay, and I'm going to make the correction just on the other side of this post here. Again, to make the correction, what I do is I take the rod, I bend over the other side to make a staple, and then I place this in the path of the geopathic stress. And as you can see, it's just right here at below the surface, and we'll just cover it over again with some of this mulch, and it should stay undisturbed. What this is doing is as the energy comes and hits this staple, it's bouncing up and over, and it's also going down and underneath. So it's no longer cutting straight through like a curtain, it's actually being deflected into this bubble shape. And inside of the bubble, that's where the energy is going to be more harmonized, and people will be able to enjoy much more peace. Here you can see that we actually have installed a tensor and orgone puck here on the flyer A-frame, along with a small selenite crystal. And what these are doing is just helping to further cleanse and clear the area. Slightly buried a small orgone and tensor puck. This has a tensor ring in it along with a mix of minerals and metals. And what that does is help create a stabilizing energetic grid over this space, which will help reduce any kind of geopathic stress or EMF stress. Additionally, I have placed some small pieces of shungite and tensor rings around the bases of some of these trees. And here is an example of another tool that can be used to help purify and stabilize the energy of a space. This is a classic tensor harmonizer in the 1/2 sacred cubit size with a selenite core and a sacred cubit double twist ring as the base. What these tools do is generate a toroidal field of stabilized and purified energy. In this case, the sacred qubit tensor harmonizer is resonating at 144 megahertz and is helping clear and stabilize the energy of this entire festival. The range on these can be quite extensive, especially when they're paired with these double twisted ring bases. And behind the harmonizer here, you can also see some of my display. I am set up today vending here at Shakori Hills. I've got some custom handmade jewelry in the back, along with some orgone and tensor pucks, and of course my triple salt mineral mix. I have a very fine and high quality blend of salts there, and some more handmade pieces up here, some Guatemalan earrings, some tuning forks, some herbal smoking blends. Fun little spread here today at Shakori Hills. So I've just made a second correction here at Shakori Hills, and I'm feeling really good about these two. I'd also made some corrections at my campsite last night before I went to bed, but really I felt like these two here out in this main field area were seriously interacting with the energy, and I'm glad I was able to clear them up. It should definitely benefit these vendors and also all of these wonderful attendees here at Shakori Hills. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, this has been Aran of Aethericarts, and I hope you learned something today.